The moment Earth's war machines awoke, before that moment, and after before. The Galactic Council had always viewed humanity with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. They were young, brash, and remarkably unremarkable by galactic standards. Their technology lagged centuries behind the great civilizations. Their ships were crude, welded constructs compared to the elegant biovessels of the Seraphim or the crystalline perfection of the Valderan fleet. Ambassador Kethvar of the Dominion. Kor found humans particularly amusing. During the peace negotiations on Kepler Station, he had watched them fidget in their primitive environmental suits, their faces flushed and sweating behind transparent aluminum visors. They spoke of their industrial capacity and manufacturing potential, as if stamping out crude metal shells could compare to the sophisticated quantum-forged vessels that had ruled space for millennia. Humanity wishes to contribute to galactic defense, the human representative, Admiral Sarah Chen, had said during the council session. Her voice carried through the translation matrix with that peculiar human quality, hope mixed with determination. Kethvar's gill slits had fluttered in what his species considered polite amusement. Of course, Admiral, every species contributes according to their capabilities. The Council had assigned Earth a role befitting their perceived status, logistics, and supply. Let the humans build food processors and habitat modules, while the real warriors, the Seraphim with their living ships, the Valdorans with their reality-bending weapons, the Krillian shock troops, handled actual combat against the encroaching devourers. What the Council failed to understand was that humanity had been preparing for war since before they had even left their home planet. The moment. The Devourer fleet emerged from dark space like a metallic plague, their biomechanical forms, stretching across 3 systems. Early warning beacons screamed their alerts across subspace as defensive positions crumbled under the assault. The elegant Seraphim bioships withered under concentrated fire, their living hulls screaming across psychic frequencies. Valderan, crystal vessels shattered like expensive ornaments, their reality-warping capabilities useless against an enemy that seemed to exist partially outside normal space-time. On the command bridge of the flagship Eternal Dominion, Kethvar watched, his screens with growing horror. 40% losses in the first hour. The Devourers were adapting to their weapons faster than tactical computers could adjust. Their swarm intelligence was overwhelming individual ship AIs. Sir, his communications officer's voice cracked with strain. We're receiving a transmission from the human logistics fleet. Not now, Kethvar snapped, watching another Seraphim carrier dissolve under Devourer acid projectors. Sir, they're not requesting orders. They're giving them. The main screen flickered, and Admiral Chen's face appeared. Behind her, Kethvar could see what looked like a massive industrial complex, all harsh lighting and exposed metal framework. But something was wrong with the perspective. The scale seemed impossible. Council forces, this is Admiral Chen aboard. The UES Forge of Titans, she said, and her voice carried none of the nervous deference it had held during peace negotiations. We're assuming tactical command of this engagement. All units, fall back to coordinates we're transmitting now. The humans think they can command us? Kethvar's tactical officer hissed through his translator. But Kethvar was staring at the AI sensor readings streaming across his displays. The human logistics fleet was moving, and the energy signatures were impossible. What he had assumed were crude industrial ships began to unfold. The UES Forge of Titans revealed itself first. Not a factory ship, but a mobile shipyard the size of a small moon. Its hull split open like a blooming flower, revealing construction bays that stretched for kilometers. But these weren't empty. They were full. Ships poured out, not the handful that any rational species might carry, but thousands, tens of thousands. Each one a brutal, angular design that prioritized function over form, armor over elegance. They moved with the coordination of a single organism, but unlike the Devourer swarm, this was the coordination of perfect military discipline. "Impossible," Kethvar whispered. "No species could build that many ships without us knowing." "Admiral," Chen's image smiled grimly. "You never asked what we were manufacturing out here, Ambassador. You assumed we were making food dispensers and air recyclers." More human vessels revealed their true nature. Factory ships became carrier groups. Supply haulers split open to reveal battle stations. What the Council had dismissed as a civilian logistics fleet was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history, but it wasn't just the numbers that changed everything. After, the Devourer assault faltered within minutes. Their adaptive intelligence, so effective against the varied technologies of the Council races, couldn't keep up with the sheer diversity of human weapons. Every ship seemed to carry different armaments, projectile weapons that fired solid metal at relativistic speeds, energy beams that could cut through molecular bonds, missile swarms that adjusted their payloads mid-flight based on target analysis. Kethvar watched in stunned silence as human vessels used tactics no civilized species would consider. They rammed Devourer ships at full acceleration, their crews surviving in reinforced impact pods. They used their own vessels as mines, setting up chain reactions that tore apart entire enemy formations. When conventional weapons failed, they started using unconventional ones: gravity bombs, temporal disruption fields, weaponized industrial equipment that turned asteroids into kinetic projectiles. How? He finally managed to ask as the Devourer fleet began its retreat, the first retreat in their recorded history. Admiral Chen's expression had lost its grimness, replaced by something that might have been pity. "You made the same mistake everyone makes about humans, Ambassador. You assume that because we're young, we're innocent. On the tactical display, human ships continued their relentless pursuit of the fleeing Devourers. But now, Kethvar could see what should have been obvious from the beginning. These weren't ships built for exploration or even defense. Every line, every system, every component was designed for one purpose: to kill other ships as efficiently as possible. "We've been fighting wars on our homeworld for longer than your species has had spaceflight," Chen continued. "We've perfected the art of violence in ways that would horrify most of the Council. The only reason we haven't conquered the galaxy already is because we chose not to." The human fleet had stopped pursuing the Devourers. They hung in space like predators that had decided their prey wasn't worth the continued hunt. Slowly, methodically, they began to fold back into their disguised configurations. The Council believed they were giving us a minor role in galactic defense, Admiral Chen said, as her image began to fade. "What they actually did was give us a reason to build the largest military force in known space. We'll return to our logistics duties now, Ambassador, but perhaps next time you'll remember that humanity's greatest talent has always been making war." The transmission ended, leaving Kethvar staring at sensors that showed human ships settling back into formations that looked exactly like a peaceful supply convoy. He finally understood why humanity had been so eager to contribute to galactic defense. They hadn't been asking for permission to help. They had been asking for permission to reveal what they truly were.